got room? Okay. All right. Make it look
Well, today from the Roberts Rules Study Club, we have Mike Straziuso and Joan Milliman. Nice to have you here today. And we are kind of in our ongoing series here of Roberts Rules. Welcome to the both of you.
Well, thank you. It's a delight to be here. And by the way, we normally mention the lady first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And
You're terrible.
Is that part of Robert's Rules?
I think it's under common courtesy.
Or chivalry.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
I don't know why you do that, but anyway.
All right.
You know,
And she's a celebrity.
See, I usually go from this way. That way, when people are watching, they associate the names with, you know.
Left
but
to right. All
I think
right.
people would know who you are. Hey, it's good to have you
hope
both
so.
on today.
Nice to
All
be
right,
here.
today it looks like part of the topic we're going to talk about is votes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what vote is required is our starter.
Okay.
And we have a majority vote, a plurality vote, 2/3 vote, and a majority of the entire membership.
Okay.
A majority vote is normally required to adopt a motion or to elect to office. It is defined as more than half of the votes cast by persons entitled to vote, excluding blanks or abstentions. Abstentions confuse boards.
Mm-hmm.
They want to count abstentions. They're non-votes. They're nothing. You don't have to count abstentions. Okay. At a regularly and properly called meeting, there may be fewer votes cast than the number of members present, since some may choose not to vote, resulting in abstentions.
Okay.
Only a majority of those actually voting is required. If, for example, there are 10 members present,
Mm-hmm.
and 4 vote in favor and 3 opposed, the motion passes. The 4 is the majority.
Right.
Majority vote is different from a plurality vote, which is the largest number of votes, which may be less than a majority when there are 3 or more issues being voted on.
Okay.
Okay, this means that when there are more than 2 candidates, it is possible for someone to be elected, although getting less than a majority.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
2/3 votes. 2/3 vote is required in particular circumstances, most notably to suspend the rules or to close or limit or extend limits of debate. It is defined as at least 2/3 of the votes cast by members entitled to vote, including blanks or back to abstentions, or properly in a properly called meeting. Majority of the entire membership. In our case, it could be 12,736.
Right.
Hey, how about that? At Tuesday's GRF board meeting, there were people advocating that GRF board members be voted by
Right.
the 12,000 members. It runs about $30,000 to hold a vote.
Mm-hmm.
How many times in the last 12 months have we had to vote for GRF board members? It'd be well over $100,000 already. So the phrase entire membership means all members of the voting body, whether they are present at the meeting or not. In an organization which has both a general membership and a board, at a board meeting, this means a majority of the entire membership of the board.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about unanimous consent.
Ah, yes. Well, there are times when you don't even have to have a vote, and that's when nobody's opposed.
Mm-hmm.
But when there seems to be no opposition in such cases, a procedure known as unanimous consent can be used.
Okay.
And such times would be like maybe approval of the minutes or approval of something. And you simply say, the chair just asks the assembly if there's any objection to approving the minutes. And with no objection, the minutes will be approved by unanimous consent.
Okay. And members' right to vote.
Yes, the member's right to vote. Any member in good standing, you should not vote on a question in which you have a conflict of interest. You cannot be compelled to abstain because of such a conflict. Any member whose right to vote has not been suspended as the result of a formal disciplinary process has the right to vote. You should not vote on a question in which you have a direct personal or monetary interest, not common to other members. However, you cannot be compelled to abstain because of such a conflict of interest. While I was on the board, I recused myself. They wanted to change banks away from a bank that I have a son-in-law as a first vice president.
Okay. All right. So chair's participation in voting.
Well, the chair always tries to maintain an appearance of impartiality, so they don't participate in debate and usually don't participate in the vote. However, there are a couple of times when the chair does vote. First of all, if there's a ballot vote, they always vote along with all the members. And secondly, if the chair's vote will change the result, they can vote.
Okay.
Now, they don't have to, but they can. For example, in a tie, one way or the other, if the tie is, there's no, to break the tie, they can vote either for or against the issue and change the result. A tie vote would result in a negative. The motion would fail because it did not get a majority.
Okay.
So if they vote one way or the other, it's going to be for sure with a result. And the same applies to the 2/3 vote, which gets a little trickier.
Okay, but the chair does not have to vote to break a tie if they don't choose to.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
All right. So next one here is more methods of voting.
Yes, those methods include a standing vote,
Okay.
a show of hands, a counted vote, and a ballot vote. An uncounted standing vote is used in 3 cases. Whenever a 2/3 vote instead of a majority vote is required to pass a motion, the chair can take a standing vote, never a voice vote when it's 2/3.
Okay.
Whenever the chair, second is whenever the chair is not sure of the result of a voice vote, he or she can order a standing vote. And third, when you as a member reasonably doubt the result of a vote by voice or by show of hands, you have the right to demand the vote be taken as a standing vote simply by calling out division.
Okay.
And that, thinking back of the days that I was on the board, Cy Wellickson, God bless Cy, he's coming up on his 90th birthday at the end of the month, and Catherine Freshley were very, very apt to call a division, and then you'd have to count the votes individually.
Okay.
Okay. The show of hands, I think, is
Right.
obvious. And a counted vote pertains to large groups, not our small boards.
And a ballot vote, I think, is
A ballot
pretty
vote
obvious.
is self-explanatory. Hand out the ballots, collect the ballots, count the
Okay.
ballots, announce and announce.
Yes, exactly. Announce, yes. All right, committee chairman or member?
I just want to say one more thing about counted votes.
Sure.
Quickly, our boards always count the votes when they're talking about a resolution, and that goes on the record.
Okay,
It's just part of our procedure.
Okay.
They don't have to do it, but we do.
okay.
Now, committees. A lot of the work of the body is done in committees, and so a person on a committee is really pretty important because they're the ones that get to do all the work. Committees are scheduled by the chairman to meet, and if the chair fails to call a committee meeting, any two members can do so.
Okay,
And to schedule subsequent meetings, the committee can vote to adjourn to a later time, or sometimes they have established regular meeting times, like the third Thursday of the month, that's X committee. And we do that all the time. Validity of committee action. Committees act validly if their decisions are agreed upon by a majority vote at a properly called meeting of which every committee member was notified and at which there's a quorum. Committees can sometimes be done in video conference or teleconference. We don't happen to do that, but if you do it, it's just a matter of everybody being seen and heard.
okay. All right, very good. Committee procedures.
Well, in Laguna Woods Village, committee meetings are usually open to the public.
Right,
Okay, the chairman has the right to make and debate motions.
okay.
Chairman making a motion, only in a committee.
Okay,
Okay, and a committee cannot adopt rules of its own. During committee meetings, unlike meetings of the organization's full membership, the chairman has the right to make and debate motions. Indeed, he or she is usually the most active participant in the discussion and work of the committee. Motions to close or limit debate are not allowed in other respects. Committees use the informal procedure of boards of about a dozen or fewer members. This informal procedure is followed in a committee even if the committee's membership exceeds a dozen, unless is otherwise instructed by its parent assembly. A committee can take it upon itself to appoint subcommittees of its own members which report to the committee, unless authorized by the assembly. However, it cannot adopt rules of its own.
okay. We got just about a little over a minute left, so if you could go quickly through the final couple steps here.
Oh, sure. Well, there's standing and special committees. Standing committees are committees that always have one subject, like membership or finance, and they are standing, they stay.
Okay.
And then finally, I think the last and the more important thing is how do committees get their recommendations to the board? In fact, committees can only make recommendations.
Right.
They cannot create the laws, as it were. And I think that's important to remember. But the action of the board is primarily started in committees, and it's really important to be a part of that. And I'm hoping that more people will get interested in our committees. Since they're open to the public, come on, join and become an advisor. Let your expertise be known.
All right, very good. And you folks are going to be having a meeting coming up, speaking of meetings, on August 13th. This one's going to be up in Garden Grove, and it'll be at 9 o'clock. And if people want more information on that, they get to call Mike, and there's his number on the screen, 949-830-8717. If somebody would like to go and maybe
We carpool.
Okay, that's good to know.
We meet in front of the community center at 8 o'clock.
All right, very good. Good to see you both.
Thank you,
And I'm
Ken.
going to say goodbye to her first. I'm being polite. So to Joan.
Thanks,
Ladies
Ken.
first. To Mike. All right, good to see you both, and
Thank
we'll
you.
be right
Nice
back.
to be here, Ken. Thank you.